Let's bring in now the head of the U.S. CEO of Doctors Without Borders, Avril Benoît. Avril, thank you for joining us this morning. You have teams throughout the region. What can you tell us about the humanitarian crisis right now?
People are starving. People are desperate. The patients that we're seeing are malnourished. We have seen women deliver prematurely. The newborns are at risk because the mothers don't have enough nutrition themselves to breastfeed. Even premature babies at much higher numbers than you would normally see. We're also seeing people coming in with all the catastrophic injuries that you would expect in an open zone of airstrikes and continuing hostilities. They're coming in with those trauma injuries, third-degree burns to their entire bodies, children with their faces blown off, all the major orthopedic cases, the trauma, and their bodies are not strong enough to even fight, to be able to withstand the risk of infections. They're not recovering properly, and that's exacerbating the problem in the health facilities, because of course you would want people to have all the chances in the world to be able to overcome their injuries, to discharge them, to make room for others. And so as a consequence, the hospital infrastructure, which Israel has largely destroyed, with the clinics and other outpatient facilities that we have, and with the rest of the humanitarian organizations that are trying to support the medical needs in Gaza, we are completely overwhelmed, and starvation is making things all that much more catastrophic.
So what are the steps that need to be taken?
Well, I would concur with all of the experts who would say we need to flood the zone with as much food as possible. The problem with the GHF is, of course, it's unsafe. It's an inefficient way to deliver aid. People have to cross very unsafe zones to reach those areas that are controlled by the IDF and military contractors from the U.S. And then there are insufficient quantities. You end up in our facilities that are near some of those GHF distribution sites in the south. We always have lots of injuries and deaths as a consequence of every single delivery. And the injuries are not only people being shot as they're leaving the zone with their bags of flour, but it's also from the trampling that happens, the injuries that happen when people are crushing and jumbling over each other because of all the gunshots against unarmed civilians who are just trying to survive with a bit of food aid. And the problem with the airdrops, of course, is that it's incredibly expensive. You don't control what's happening on the ground, who really receives the aid. It also has created extremely insecure conditions on the ground, and you can't even drop that much. So each one of these very spectacular visual displays of the parachutes landing on the ground is really the equivalent of a few trucks. What we need is to flood the zone, get all those trucks with the permissions to go in. Obviously, a ceasefire, a real permanent lasting ceasefire, will make it safe enough for the humanitarian organizations to be able to deliver the aid to people in Gaza who desperately need it. The situation for the hostages is absolutely horrific as well. If no food aid is coming in, everyone is at risk. Even aid workers are at risk. So when you talk about, my own colleagues who are eating every second day and scrounging around for food, you can imagine that everyone is. So this is part of the problem, is that the aid coming in is controlled by Israel. And that is why in this genocide we look to Israel to have an approach that is humanitarian. And of course, for the U.S. to back what Israel is doing makes the U.S. complicit as well. It's just an obvious connecting of the dots. So we very much hope, for everyone's sake, all the civilians inside Gaza, including hostages, but of course all of the people, the families, the children, that there's an end to this with a real lasting ceasefire, because for sure this cannot last long. Even the UN was estimating today that 1 million women and girls are at risk of starvation right now. And of course, as the days go by, with an escalating, mounting numbers of malnutrition cases, it becomes that much more imperative for us to flood the zone with as much food and aid as possible. To do that, to get those trucks into the places where people need it, and so that they can reach it without risking their lives, we need for the fighting to stop. We need that ceasefire desperately right now.
Avril Benoît, thank you.